Okay, so this is just a little scene from a story I'm working on about a little boy who goes through a hole in his bedroom wall and finds a guy living there. That's about all you need to know. The stranger was covered in blotchy, stained clothing. He looked older, worn down by something, but maybe that was just because of the dirt on his face and the shaggy beard. "What are you doing here?" Colin said. He knew it was stupid to ask. There was no way his parents knew that he was here, and if they did, Colin wouldn't be meeting him right now. He just knew that he had to keep the guy talking until he figured out what to do. He was no speedy runner. He knew he wouldn't be able to run away if faced with a race. "What do you think, kid? You probably shouldn't be here." "Probably not," the man said. "What are you going to do about it?" Colin said nothing. "I can hear through walls, you know," the man said. "That's none of your business." "I heard your brother teasing you about that girl." "So?" Colin said. "He's not the boss of you. If you continue to let your brother and those dumbasses at school kick you around all the time, your life will only plummet into something horrible." "Wow, that's not cliche or anything," Colin said. He laughed. "What was this guy, a fortune cookie?" Just trying to help, the man turned away to look at something else by his pile of blankets. Was he avoiding Colin's gaze? "Well, it doesn't seem like you're the one to be giving advice," Colin said. He looked the man up and down. He didn't see anything very sage-like about him. He was the exact opposite of what Colin was like. Even now in his dusty, ripped pajamas, Colin thought he looked a lot more put together than the man standing in front of him, living in the walls of his family's home. No job, no life. "Exactly, that's my point. You need to see what I see." "What's that?" Colin said. "Can I trust you not to tell anyone?" Colin stood still, thinking, processing what this man could do to him. No one would ever know what had happened to him. He would just vanish, never having proved himself to Tommy, Joel, Chelsea. His dad forced him to read the Sunday paper, the articles about all the child abductions. He did it to Joel too, but for some reason, Dad must have thought Colin was more at risk, weak. Dad had said that he wanted his kids to understand that there were real psychos out there who would do anything for a young body, do weird things to it when they got the chance. Once a child was abducted, it was very unlikely that they would ever be seen living ever again. What did he have to lose? His life? "You can trust me," Colin said. "Are you sure you want to start today? This shit's not pretty." "Start what?" Colin said. The man directed Colin to the other tunnel, the one that Colin had wanted to go through in the first place. The man gestured for Colin to get ready to crawl again. "This is going to do a number on my back, but maybe if we do this, we won't ever have to do it again." Colin didn't know what to say. This guy didn't really make any sense, so why did he trust him? When he didn't respond, the man went on. "Colin, we've done this before. I've lost count. I'd say at least 10 times we've done this. It gets a little grating. Just follow me and you'll understand." And the two crawled down the new tunnel. It slanted and deepened, and Colin saw flashes of moments, time in his life that he could never have remembered. Moments that existed before he was able to forget or even know what was going on. It was all very early on in Colin's life. In the first couple of moments, Colin was lying in his mother's arms, looking up at her, smelling her strong perfume of rosewater and cloves. He watched his family before he could even walk. Memories that he couldn't have been his because he wasn't alive yet. He saw events like his parents getting married and Joel being born at St. Joseph's Hospital. He floated above them all. There was a story behind every frozen moment in time. Then the tunnel disappeared and everything went black. The blank canvas flashed with colors, bright and encircling. Intelligence surged into the synapses of Colin's mind, making him aware of more than he ever thought he'd know. When the rush of the flickering images dimmed and went away, all he could see was the man ahead of him, crawling, hunched over, and turning around every so often to make sure Colin was close behind. "We're almost there. I remember when you remember," the man said. Colin wanted to question him, but he wanted to follow him more. "Hurry, before the tide switches." "Like the ocean?" he said, but the man either didn't want to answer or didn't hear. That's when he saw the empty street square at the end of the tunnel. Was he even still in a tunnel? The man turned around to help him out into the large expanse of a window and neon signs, tar road, and colored cement sidewalk. They were in an empty Times Square. "Do you remember this, Colin?" Colin stared at the older man. His face was earnest, and Colin somehow knew he'd be safe. His body wouldn't be found decaying in the walls of his own home after days and weeks of him going missing. Would he learn something? Would he be a hero? The man lifted up his shirt to show Colin the chickenpox scar, faded and flatter than his own, next to his belly button. The same shape of Minnesota, the same bleached color, the same itchy red dot it had been when Colin was 5. "You can't be," Colin said. "I am." Once it had settled in that the man in front of him was indeed who he thought he was, they walked out into the bleakness that was Times Square. Colin had been there once before with his parents and had fallen in love with the city, but seeing it empty was eerie, zombie apocalypse-like. "What are we doing here?" Colin said. "Just keep moving." That's it.
Stephanie.